Hi guys, welcome back to the Dorset Doorstep. Today I am going to be showing you how to make this adorable cake pop bouquet. It might look complicated, but it is actually super simple, so I'm going to take you step by step and show you how I made this. So the first thing that I do is I use these Pillsbury white cake mixes. I make a lot of cakes and this is what I always use. It's super easy. I just follow the directions on the back of the box for the whole egg recipe. And once I bake my cake, then that's when the fun starts. So right now I'm just gonna bake the cake as the box says. It's super easy. Anyone can bake a cake. You can't mess this up. So that's what I'm doing first. So I had preheated my oven to 350 and I'm putting the cake in, and I set my timer for about 30 minutes. That's about the perfect time. And now I have taken the cake out and it has cooled, and these are the other things that I'm going to be using. You're going to need some candy melts or some kind of melting chocolate, some sticks, some tissue paper, some sprinkles, whichever color you want, some canned vanilla icing, and then you're going to need a pot of some sort and foam insert so that you can stick the pops into that. So this is where the fun starts, or the mess starts really. You just want to take your cake and you're going to crumble it up as finely as you can. And I started with about 2/3 of my cake mix. I don't always use the whole cake mix. It just depends on how wet or how dry it is. So I started with about 2/3, but I did eventually go back and get the rest of the cake to mix it in. So you want to grind it up with your fingers just as finely as you can, but a few little pieces are fine. It doesn't have to be completely crumbled, but the smaller it is, the easier it is to mix. So then you're going to take your cake mix and your icing, and you're going to use about half a can of vanilla icing, and this is where the real mess begins. You're going to just smush this together, and it's really sticky at the beginning and it's going to stick to your hands, but the more cake you add, the less it sticks to your hands, and that's when you know you've added the right amount, when it stops sticking to your fingers. So as you can see, I'm taking the rest of the cake and crumbling that into it, and I did end up using the whole cake mix. Okay, so now that it is mixed really well and it's not sticking to my hands anymore, I'm going to take it and roll it into small balls. You don't want these balls to be too big, because if they are too big, they'll fall off the sticks when you put the chocolate on them. So it's kind of trial and error to figure out how big you want them, but if you can tell how big I'm making them, this is a good size. This actually made around 47 cake balls with one cake mix, so it was actually more than I needed, but that is about roughly the size of ball that you're going to need to make. So now I'm going to take these and stick them in the freezer just while I'm getting some other things ready. You want these to get hard, because it's a lot easier to dip into your chocolate when they're hard and cold. So I'm going to take my candy melts and I'm just going to put them in a microwave safe bowl. And the trick when you're melting candy is to do it in 30-second increments. If you just put it in the microwave for 2 minutes, you will burn it and you won't be able to use it. So here I just stuck it in 30-second increments, and it took, I believe, 2 minutes total, just taking it out and stirring it in between and mixing the chocolate that had melted into the rest of it, and it kind of melts on its own when you mix it in. So this was after the last 30 seconds, and you can see that it's really smooth and it's the perfect consistency for dipping the cake pops. So right now I'm going to take my sticks, and these have chilled for a little while but not too long, but there's only 25 sticks and obviously there's more cake pops, but I'm only going to go make 25 today. So you just want to dip it in your chocolate, and then you're going to stick these into your cake pops and let that harden, and that will kind of act as a glue to hold that stick into the cake pop so that when you dip it later it does not fall off. So now these are going to go back into the refrigerator, and the only reason I did the refrigerator instead of the freezer was because of the tall sticks. I couldn't actually fit them in my freezer. So now I'm just going to take my little dish, my little, what is it called, my little pot, and I kind of roughly measured this foam which I had left over. This is just from Dollar Tree, super easy to cut, and I just sort of stuck that down in there so that it was tight, and then kind of pushed the sides of the pot together so that it wasn't deformed, and that was pretty secure. I didn't have to glue it or anything. This pot can be reused. And then I took the other piece and just cut it in half and stuck it in the sides, and it was very secure. So now it's time to dip the cake balls. I have my sprinkles, and I use a colander to hold them once I've dipped them. So they've been in the refrigerator probably 30 minutes or so, and though you have to kind of work quickly because your chocolate is hot and your cake pops are cold. So it's kind of working against each other, and they do not take long at all, maybe 20-30 seconds, and they're dry to the touch. So you can dip them, and then you can actually dip them in the sprinkles if you want, or you can just sprinkle them on top. Obviously you can use whatever color sprinkles and chocolate that you choose. They make them in all different colors. I just chose the pink with the yellow. I thought the yellow looked like the center of a flower. And you kind of want to just like shake the excess chocolate off, because if you don't, it will drip and it will be thick on parts of the cake pop. And once I got about 5 of them made, then the first one that I made was dry, and I was able to take it out and just lay it on a plate until I had finished the rest of them. So I'm just going to go ahead and cover all of these cake balls in chocolate and sprinkles. Okay, so now I am ready to assemble. To me, this is the fun part. You just want to stick these cake balls into your foam, and looking back, I wish that I had started in the center because it would have made it a lot easier. You do have to be careful because it's top heavy right now, and if you wanted, you could put rocks or something heavy in the bottom of your pot just to hold it, but it's not necessary if you don't want to. But like I said, I should have started in the center because then it gets kind of hard to stick them in. But you want to only stick them in about 1 inch for now so that you can fill it in, and then later we're going to push the cake pops down to kind of hold everything. So you just want to put as many as you want, you know, depending on how full you want it. Maybe around 12 is probably a good amount for this size pot. Okay, so now I just took this lime green tissue paper, which I thought coordinated really nicely with the dark green pot and the pink flowers, and I just cut these little rectangles and I literally just stuck them in. It's super simple, and it's just a filler so that you don't see any of the foam or the sticks, and it really looks like leaves, and it kind of just makes it look a lot more like an actual bouquet of flowers. So I just put, you would just do as many as you want. You could obviously use whichever color you wanted. You can make this in any color scheme that you wanted, but I chose this green. I thought this is really beautiful for spring, for Mother's Day. So I just here am putting as many as I want until it is as full as I want, and then I am going to go back and sort of push my cake pops down to securely hold the tissue paper, and then also to make the center of gravity a little bit lower so that this isn't as top heavy. So here is the beautiful cake pop bouquet. That was super easy. As you can see, it's a little messy, but super easy and super fun to make. This would be perfect for Mother's Day. This is Teacher Appreciation Week or Nurses Appreciation Week. So many things that you could give this gift as. I think anyone would love to get this. I think I might give this to a special mom I know, or possibly to my son's teacher, because she's amazing and deserves a little treat. Thank you guys so much for watching, and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.